All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a story where high-stakes politics and deep-seated romance completely smash into each other in the most spectacular way. We are looking at the intense, genuinely captivating world of Nollywood's Love's Convict. Now, beyond the surface-level drama of backstabbing and secret identities, which is totally fun, by the way, this story actually brilliantly exposes the real-life, systemic prejudices faced by ex-convicts trying to rebuild their lives. So if you love a narrative where a single lie can bring down a whole political empire, all while tackling some pretty serious societal truths, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down the whole complex web of motives and genuine love that makes this source material so incredibly fascinating. So put yourself in this situation for a second. What would you do if you were framed, sent to prison, and your only way to survive the harsh reality of the outside world was adopting a dead person's identity? It's a massive moral dilemma, isn't it? Well, this is exactly the impossible situation our protagonist, Aliyah, finds herself in right out of the gate. She basically has to make a choice between living in her truth and starving, or living a lie just to survive.
All right, Section 1. The innocent ex-convict.
3 years. Just think about that for a second. That is how long Aliyah served in prison for a massive financial crime she didn't even commit. Actually, her own mentor used Aliyah's banking details and office pass to set her up. So she steps out of those prison gates with absolutely nothing, carrying a criminal record that acts like a giant neon stop sign to any future employment. And talk about a chaotic return to society. Let's look at her timeline. On day 1, she's released on good behavior. Great, right? Well, by week 1, she's crashing with her friend Susie and immediately faces 10 brutal job rejections because literally no one wants to hire an ex-convict. The system is completely stacked against her. By week 2, she's so fed up and frustrated that she ends up yelling at a reckless political convoy from the window of a public bus. But here is the wild twist. In week 3, that very bus driver, a guy named Alasko, happens to have connections and actually scores her an interview. Suddenly, she gets hired by a political campaign. And not just any campaign, the campaign of Samuel Hosfall, the exact politician whose convoy she just yelled at.
Which brings us to Section 2, a dangerous new identity.
Look, to get that campaign finance job, Aliyah knows her criminal record is going to disqualify her on the spot. So she makes this desperate, super dangerous choice. She drops the name Aliyah, the ex-convict framed by her own mentor, and takes on the identity of Alice, her deceased twin sister who has a spotless record. On paper, it's a perfect match, you know? They even studied the same course in university. But by doing this, she instantly creates a ticking time bomb of a double life. So she enters this high-pressure environment, and Aliyah is surrounded by some real heavy hitters. First up, we have Samuel Hosfall, the charismatic gubernatorial candidate who honestly just wants genuine love, not a political prop. Then there's Madam Z, his strict but fair campaign manager, and Ben, this incredibly shady political strategist pushing optics over substance. And finally, Bella, the woman brought in from Abuja to play the role of the perfect future First Lady. But here's the absolute kicker, the massive dramatic irony. We, the audience, know that Bella is actually Aliyah's former mentor. Yeah, the exact same woman who abandoned her and framed her for the fraud in the first place. Bella is incredibly dangerous, and our characters don't even know it yet.
Moving right along to Section 3, love versus political optics.
It's honestly like a giant puzzle of hidden agendas. On the surface, Samuel wants to win the election, but secretly, he's just looking for a real partner. Bella acts like the supportive partner, but her hidden motive is pure sabotage. She wants Samuel to lose so she can snag a cushy job with his rival, the senator. Ben, the campaign manager, is secretly working with Bella to divide the votes, and then there's Aliyah, pretending to be Alice. Her only goal is just to lay low and survive. But her complication? She is falling head over heels for Samuel, all while hiding that criminal record. It just perfectly highlights the dangers of political facades. Everyone is playing a part, which makes this budding romance incredibly precarious. But Samuel? He is sharp. He sees right through Bella's fake, overly polished persona almost immediately. Instead, he becomes totally captivated by Aliyah's fiery authenticity. I mean, remember, she was the one yelling at him from the bus. He promotes Aliyah's art of background finance team, moves her into his staff quarters to save her from a terrible commute, and eventually moves her right into his main house guest room. He is actively pulling her closer into his inner circle, entirely bypassing that whole political matchmaking scheme Ben set up. And that tension leads us straight into Section 4, exposing the saboteurs. So,
You gotta ask yourself, how long can a fake identity actually survive under the glaring spotlight of a high-profile gubernatorial campaign? It's impossible, right? And this is the exact moment we've been dreading. The moment Ben and Bella finally cross paths with Alice and realize she is actually Aliyah. Well, her secret unspools incredibly fast. First, Bella and Ben recognize her, and they immediately threaten to expose her and send her right back to prison if she doesn't stay away from Samuel. But when Samuel keeps pursuing her anyway, Ben takes drastic action. He leaks her real identity to a news channel. Suddenly, the news scroll is flashing that Samuel Hosfall is dating an ex-convict. Samuel is completely blindsided. He confronts her, and when she admits she lied about her name, a heartbroken Samuel, thinking he's been played this whole time, forces Aliyah to pack her bags and leave. Boom! The villains use her painful past to ruthlessly rip them apart. But you know how it is, right? Villains always get a little too comfortable. Confronting Aliyah later, Bella's hubris just totally takes over. She is so arrogant, so high on her own power, that she practically gloats. She actually says out loud, "I don't mind sending 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people unlawfully to prison." She confesses to framing Aliyah. But she makes a fatal flaw. She does it in a way that allows Samuel's people to uncover the truth, effectively sealing her own fate. Big mistake. Let's head into our final act, Section 5, Justice and a Proposal. You see, Samuel doesn't just let Aliyah go. He hires a private investigator named Jerry. And Jerry, he does his job perfectly. He uncovers the entire plot, Bella and Ben's political sabotage, and, most importantly, the frame-up. The authorities step in, and the villains are swiftly arrested. Then, the justice system officially wipes Aliyah's criminal record completely clean. And in this beautiful, deeply satisfying moment of vindication, the very bank that originally fired her offers her a new position 2 levels higher than she was before. Talk about a comeback. But Samuel still has this massive decision hanging over him. With his campaign compromised by Ben's sabotage, he makes a shocking public announcement. He steps down from the gubernatorial race entirely. Choosing principled integrity over raw power, he endorses another clean candidate, Barrister Ken Ivory, ensuring that the corrupt senator who funded Ben and Bella doesn't win. He basically sacrifices his political ambition to clear his schedule for what really matters. Which leads us to this absolute mic drop of a moment. Samuel goes to find Aliyah. He tells her he stepped down to raise a family. She awkwardly congratulates him, assuming he found someone else, and he hits her with this amazing line. "Did I say I found a wife? That's how you fail exams. Did I say I found a woman that I want to get married to?" It's such a brilliant, teasing proposal. He totally surprises her, asking her to be the first lady of his house, rather than the first lady of the state. So as we wrap up this explainer, we really have to ask ourselves, when the dust settles and the campaign ads fade, does true power lie in the office you hold or the truth you live by? We watched Aliyah go from a desperate victim hiding her own name to a victorious woman living in her truth, overcoming those massive systemic hurdles thrown in her path. It's a fantastic reminder of the ultimate value of authenticity and integrity. Thanks so much for exploring this incredibly structured and satisfying narrative with me today. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you in the next explainer.